I'm gonna start off by share this with y'all niggas. Do you remember the other day when I was saying I was I was talking in the middle of the video. I looked at the face I was making. I was like, damn, I look like a crazy man or some shit like that. My nigga, this shit is so real in the field. Even that is a part of the fucking thing, for lack of a better phrase, of all this deed and shit. Let me tell you what I mean. When you study Hindu mythology and Japanese mythology and all that, that is those are certain attributes or characteristics of the god consist of that. Fierce faces and I've seen Japanese statues and shit. That I'm saying that because what really made it click in my mind was yesterday, the last video I did. I was looking at some of the faces I was making. I was like, man, on one hand I was like, excuse me. On one hand I was like, man, these motherfuckers might think I'm a fucking. If you was just mute, if you was to hit mute and just look at my video, you probably think this nigga's a crazy madman or some shit like that, right? So for about 5, for a slight, me, I don't be. That's why I say I don't give a fuck. This kicks in. But every next like 5 seconds, I was like, you know what? It kind of bothered me for a second. I was like, man, I don't want these people thinking I'm already in a fucking. I'm already speaking with a fierceness that because I know how motherfuckers are. If it ain't a nigga saying it, it's a motherfucker that nigga probably thinking it. Man, this nigga, they'll dismiss the message. This nigga just a crazy, he's just mad, angry, he's a bitter guy or something. And that's not the fucking, well, I'm angry, but as we all should be. Personal reasons as well as collective reasons, but the only reason I say it kind of bothered me because people would dismiss the message and think that you just talking out the side of your neck out of some fucking insane temperament or some shit. But no, these are even that is that when you start studying these when you start studying Japanese mythology and Hindu mythology, when you start studying these gods and goddesses and these and them pantheons, that's a part of it. I've seen I've seen a movie where but between these certain Japanese statues and different gods, and it ain't nobody you want to fuck with. But the faces that I made when I thought about that shit yesterday, I said, that shit. Some of the faces I was making reminded me of some of the deities that I was seeing on Japanese, or some of the Japanese faces. The faces reminded me of some of the Japanese faces and Japanese deities making. So I said, no, that's spiritual. That's a part of the fucking game. Whether you think it looks like a fucking lunatic or not. But I thought that was quite interesting. But dig this. Now, let's get back to this. So, now we got to take the shit back to what I was saying about the sugar, the dangers of the sugar. The spirit is moving me to, and I'm going to show you why I say that. Okay, so last Wednesday, I think last Wednesday, last Thursday, I was like, I said, man, fuck it, let me, I don't got nothing else Cause you need sweet shit. You need sweets. You gonna just follow me with this, and you gonna see what I'm saying at the end. But you need the shit. You just have to find a different source than bleach white sugar. But or products with bleach white sugar in it. So I said, okay, I'm looking at the honey. I'm like, okay, man, maybe I could, drizzle a little in this oatmeal and a little sliver on this toast, just to get some type of sweetness in my system, my sugar or whatever in my system, or something sweet in some form of fashion. Because you need this shit. Like I said, I woke up one day last week out in the middle of the night, and I didn't feel like I was gonna pass out if I ain't getting no sugar or some shit, eat something sweet or whatnot. And it ain't no withdrawal because I ain't been eating this shit like that. I just don't have I ain't really been having no alternative version, because before that happened, I had some sugar-free syrup. So I would put that to get some sweetness out of me. I would eat that with oatmeal and shit, and that'd pretty much be alright. But then when that shit ran out, about a week later, when I woke up one day in the middle of the night, man, and was fucked up. Like I felt like I was gonna pass out around this bitch. I went in and got some grapes. I went and ate some grapes and shit, just to put some type of sweetness in my body or whatever. So like I said, there's some alternative to white sugar or fruit derivative or fruit itself. And I think we'll get into that later. But I said, fuck it, I tried it. So I did the first day, ate it, no problem. I said, all right, maybe I can get away with just a little, with a little, it don't be that much. It just be like a little, you know what I'm saying? Like, a day just to hold me over so I can crack me a little hustle and give me some fucking, some sugar-free cereal or some type of alternative and shit, some fruits and shit. Cause the nigga fucked up right now. But, so Wednesday turned to Thursday. Then Thursday turned to Friday. By Saturday night, was it Saturday night? It was Friday. No, it was Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night that my shit started tripping. So, it was Saturday night. So I got that out the way. I was straight for till Sunday night. Sunday night, this motherfucker started. My tooth over here started acting up and shit. So, I'm like, God damn. So when I did the video yesterday, my shit was still fucked up. But something told me to call on Harry Krishna, and through the whole Christ breakdown or whatnot. And I did that, and then after that, I was studying, which I already knew this, but I went reading up on him and shit, and got a reminder that he's known for being fond of sweets and butter. That's your boy. Sweets and butter. My shit. No bullshit. Like when I cook toast, when I cook toast, my shit I don't do I fry it, but I make sure I don't fry it too long. I make sure when I finish, when it's done, it's still a tad bit soaked from the butter, as opposed to just cooking it till you can't. When I eat it, it's still a little tad bit wet or whatever. So, cause you can still taste the butter. You haven't had toast in all kind of different ways. Some people put their toast on the butter and put it in the toaster. When you do that shit, you can't even really taste the butter no more, cause it's too fried it's too cooked into the bread. But I'm a butter guy. So then I started thinking, which I already know this, but what it basically did was bring me back around to how this sugar shit is an attack. You know what? And not to say that, I'm not saying people in general are addicted to sweets, so we're not, I ain't gonna think it like it's just a total black thing. But niggas, they knew this shit. That's basically what came to me. They knew this shit. You gotta think about it. When we was in slavery and shit, let me tell you, like, it's just like this right here. When nations used to go to war, or when they used to go to war with each other in ancient times, one of the things they would do, and they had a chance to, was they would, and this is why I said this is why when you hear me say shit like, when I made the video the other day, I was saying, anybody in my fucking way trying to keep me from eating, bro, is up with you, problems gonna come to you, believe that shit, because this is warfare. To me, that's like saying you trying to starve me out, which means you trying to kill me. That's how I look at shit. I don't, but you might say that's radical. This is what I'm saying. It's a long story anyway. But when nations would go to war and shit, what they would do was they would go and pour salt into the land of the enemy to fuck the soil up and make it hard for the crops so they couldn't grow their crops and shit. Therefore, making fucking up their food supply. This is the same shit with the sugar shit. You gotta think about it. When we was in slavery, we didn't know we was captured other people or whatever, took over. And put to sleep generation after generation to the point of where we totally forgot how we used to live and what we used to be and all that. Doing this process, this generation after generation after generation of slavery and being lost in the wilderness of North America, while we was in that state, in this symbolical slumber or sleep, they were studying us. All our ancient information, who we used to be, what we are, whatever. That's why when you go to Egypt, that's why they should say, know thyself over the temple or whatever. So that's why I say know thyself over the temple. Because that's the key to reversing all this, over the temple. That's why when when you look at Nation of Islam in its real version, with Elijah Muhammad was the man, the thing was know thy man, know thyself, knowledge yourself, knowledge yourself. Because when you know yourself, you know what to eat and what not to eat. You know what was poisonous to you as a black man and what's healthy for you. Which would be one of the reasons of knowing who you are, or having knowledge yourself. So, they have knowledge of you that you don't know. So you don't know pork is bad for you because they done fed you this shit for generations and generations and generations. And but by they studying you, they studied us to the point of where they knew us inside out, to the point of where they had to do that before they can actually take the cuffs and shackles off our. They kept them on the brain, the mind, but before they could take the cuffs and shackles off our hands and feet, they had to know us. So they wouldn't have they had to know more about us than we did. So it'd be easier for them to control us, and they wouldn't have no problems. So they like, you know what, we got them so under mind control, we don't even have to be around them and keep them in hand. Cause we can let them roam free and we can let them roam free and serve a better purpose to us or to them as under the guise of freedom, and not have to worry about too much because we know them more than they know themselves. So I say that to say that the sugar shit is an attack because they knew they just Harry Krishna shit I'm telling you about. Just like a whole lot of other deities who are fond of sweets or the sweets are sacred. And mind you, all this shit is us. We the Christ species or whatnot. I mean, we are the Krishna species, therefore, they know, well, they like sweets, right? Because you got to think about it. What would make them say, well, let's take the sugar and start bleaching it white? Or making it poisonous to them? What would make them, wow, okay, they conquer the world, whatever you want to call it. Colonize the world, put niggas in slavery, whatever. That's one thing, right? What would make them look at the sugar and say, you know what, let's start fucking that up. Let's do whatever they do to it to make it detrimental to people in general. Not just black people, not just black people, but people in general, right? What would make, you have to ask yourself, what would make them just catch a wild idea to do that? The same thing that will make one army or king or whatever the fuck who's battling another guy to say, go over there and put that fucking salt in there, salt in their soil so their food won't grow. The less food, the less energy they got. The less energy, the less strength they got. The less strength and vigor they got to fight. Same thing there. It's like, okay, oh, they like sweets? Oh, okay. Then I'm going to go back to what I was telling you about. They attack you through the shit you love. So they like sweets. Let's take this shit, this sugar. Now, sugar in itself in its natural state is not necessarily bad for you, but I do think that too much of anything can fuck you up. So I think with sugar, and I'm not sure about this, you have to ask some type of health expert or whatever, but I think with sugar, I think it does have a natural acidity to it, or an acidic level to where it would be the safest thing to do if you do eat sweets is to brush your teeth right after, because the longer you let it sit on your teeth, the acidicness of it will eat through your, will eat and eat and eat until you have no more enamel that's protecting the fucking nerves and the bone, the nerves and shit in your gums from with the enamel and all that shit over your teeth. Put it like this, just like you got a protective layer of skin. This is my theory. Just like you got a protection layer of skin over your body, covering your bones and your flesh and shit. That enamel and all that shit is something on your teeth that protects the inner part of your teeth from the foods and shit we eat or whatever. So that shit, so you, even when you eat regular, like you could probably eat the cane sugar. Let me say that too, because I don't want to. Now, when you see natural cane sugar, I think my shit is ate off to the point where I can't fuck with no type of sugar unless it's like fruit or something. But so you might want to go that route, but still brush your teeth with the brown shit. Don't fuck with the white sugar. The brown sugar, cane sugar and shit like that. Man, I'm talking about cane sugar. That's natural cane sugar. Cause that's natural before you put the white bleach on. Yeah, so I just think my shit is just fucking to the point where I can't really fuck with it. Period. But the cane sugar is a more or just get natural sugar. Don't get the shit with the bleach on, because I think that sugar is naturally acidic itself, and then they make it worse. Like I said, that theory that the jury is still out on that. I might probably go look that up. But we know for sure bleach eats through shit. So they bleaching the fucking sugar from brown to white. The chemicals that they use, and I heard they use pig blood to do that shit, which makes a lot of sense in the world now. Because like I said, I remember when I was young, I used to hear him say sugar causes worms. And I was like, how the fuck did that happen? But the pork causes worms, and they using sugar, or you using pork blood in the process of bleaching this shit white. Then this shit may very well turn into parasites, and you wonder why you have these cravings. And I noticed this shit because when I stopped drinking, putting sugar and shit in my coffee, like I can eat a good meal, drink some coffee with sugar and cream in that shit, and then go out, and by 2-3 hours later, I be hungry all over again. And I used to be like, God damn, man, I ate to keep from fucking getting hungry for this shit happening. I'm still getting hungry. I stopped eating that shit. I mean, drinking sugar with cream and coffee and sugar and shit. I eat a meal, same type of meal, go out, and won't even be hungry. Be good till I come back home and shit. That's the parasites and shit. When the fucking the sugar causes the crap out of this sugar causes cravings, because it's the fucking parasites that this shit turn into when it's inside your body. Now you feed yourself, but then when this shit turn into whatever the parasites and worms shit turn into, that shit starts getting hungry. So it's eating the shit you ate and craving other shit, and you really feeding them cravings. That's why I say it makes all the sense in the world now. Cause when I stop doing that shit, I'll be able to eat one meal and be straight to the shit. It'll add the same type of meal, same portion or whatever. So that shit is dangerous, bro. But so whatever they bleed, although sugar may be acidic within itself, whatever they putting on that shit, when they bleaching it, is they just call bleach white sugar. So if it's bleaching it, that shit is really eating your shit up, whatever. And like I said, I know I've spoken on this before, man, but the way all this shit happened, I'm like, damn. And then, I'm not thinking of when I call on hair. When I did this video yesterday, I wasn't really necessarily outside of the fact I had a toothache, but I wasn't thinking about the sugar thing or whatever. It didn't hit me until after I did the video. I said, oh shit, this is what's going on. You have to really see it's imperative that we, it's just like anything else. When you was a kid, certain shit people had to tell you over and over and shit, to do shit over and over until you finally got to the habit of the routine of doing the shit without them telling you. Clean them dishes and all that old bullshit. And you finally get into the habit. It's like even right now, I really like to clean your room, Bobby. Keep that goddamn room clean and shit. It's like growing up, they probably have to tell you that shit. You go get on your ass about it. Now, I don't even. I can't sit around my shit just fucked up like that. I start getting agitated, man. As opposed to a kid, you step over shit, be doing this and that, and don't give a fuck. Then eventually you get to a point where you be like, man, I can't even sit around my shit just fuck. That's just like, anyway. But so this is why I have to I'm really telling myself this shit really, because I do some shit one time and like, I already talked about it, but I was like, no, you have to make rounds, because people forget. The first time might not sink in, so you have to, and I think that's what this is about right here. Like I said, I was going through the toothache shit, which is dealing with the sweetness or whatever, and then some told me to call on Harry Krishna. I'm not thinking about sweets and all this shit when I call on Harry Krishna or whatever. But so we are of the Krishna species or the Christ species or whatever, and they know that we have a certain affinity for sweets. Then they said, okay, one of the ways we're gonna fuck these niggas up is we're gonna take the thing that they love, which is sweets, with the shit that you did, and even did or whatnot. But shout to Dr. Africa, even show you how deep it goes. Even Dr. Africa said, look, he said the addiction is so strong, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he went into something like this here, but he was saying, he said, just think about it. Look at some of the stuff we call each other. Hey sweetie pie. Shit like that. He said, that's why you call each other, we have an addiction to this shit. Not necessarily saying there's something wrong with calling your lover sweetie pie or whatever, but shit like that. But they said, fuck it, we gonna put some we're gonna take the shit that they like, which is sugar, because Bobby said he say back. And we eat the shit. See what I'm saying? That's another thing too. It ain't just the acidicness of it. It's the fact that we live in America, or here, or it's not even just America, just to say modern society, but America in particular. We have an addictive nature. We take shit too far. That's why they say we the most obese and all this shit, because we don't just eat one, two. We just can't. We just keep going and shit. Greed. You can't just eat 3 cookies, you gotta eat 10 of them hoes. So you're intaking an excess amount of some shit that is poison anyway. Sugar itself is poison. The shit they put on it to process it is poison. So not only are we the sugar, so you got the addictiveness that the sugar causes, that's causing you so constantly partake of it, but the form of the sugar that you're fucking with has poison on it. So it's like mixing poison and sweet sugar. The addictiveness of the sugar cause you back, and then the poison that's on the shit fucks your teeth up, fucks your central nervous system up, gives your kids ADHD, send them to school. You wondering why they can't sit still, can't stop bothering people, and all these fucking mental health issues we having, and whatever the fuck. We wondering where this shit's coming from, but nobody's never making the connection to food, really. You know, it's the shit that they use. If they processing this shit with pig blood, and we eat pig as well. All that shit is you better believe that shit has something to do with that. All that aggressive bully shit and fucked up temperaments and greed, because you always eat the pig. It's greedy. You eat pig, you partake of a greedy mentality. So yeah, so like I was saying, what I was going into, the sugar shit is causing that. That's the reason kids be in class and shit having behavior problems. Like I said, I always go back to what Bobby said. They tell the story about the two kids, it was a couple or something that had two kids, kept getting in trouble in school and shit. Behavior problems. I can't remember exactly how the story went, but I think they sent the friend of the family or uncle or something like that was like, let me deal with him, or let me help you with him, or whatever. And based on the work, what he did was he took him off the sugar. He said when he took him off that sugar, he sent him back to school. He said it was model citizens. So behavioral problems would be considered, the origin of behavioral problems would be psychological, right? So if sugar could have a psychological effect on people, when I tell you that pork can have a psychological effect on the mind, because you don't make the connection. You don't think you can eat something and it can cause you to think a certain way or impede your thinking or something like that. Like I say, I ain't never, bro, I've been in 42 years and I've come to the conclusion drugs never, any drug I've ever did is fuck me up like the food we eat. But they paint drugs and shit as the bad guy, which it can't be if you don't know what you're doing. Just like food. Matter of fact, let me say this before we go too far into sugar. I remember Bobby said sugar used to, back in Egypt, back in ancient times, we used to be able to get high off sugar, right? That's why I hate stopping. I don't know if I said this in this video. Did another video after redo the shit. Anyway, I hope I'm not being redundant. But if I said this earlier in the video, forgive me, but I'll go there again. Anyway, he said sugar, we used to be able to get high off the shit in ancient times. But based off of it, but we didn't eat it as much. Go back to what I was saying about America being an addicted, us having a society being, us being dealing with being addicted, not just to drugs, everything. We're addicted to everything we do. We overdo everything. Binge, well, not, I won't say binge, but we addicted to everything. We take shit to the max. So you might say, "Man, that's a crock of bullshit. We get high off of sugar." Well, let me ask you something. You remember how you used to get, or you might still see your kids today do the shit. You remember how you used to get when you used to get some sweets and start eating, a popsicle or like they pop, that joy it brings you. You eating this shit, jumping around all crazy and shit. What the fuck you think was going on? You was getting high. Not like a marijuana high or coke high and shit like that. But you was getting high. So, but it was easier. So you eat a popsicle now. You eat a lollipop now. As a grown person, you're not gonna get to jump around. Hey, or well, it's sweet. It's cookie time. You ain't gonna get all hype about the shit now because you been eating the shit for so long. You're immune to it. Just like with drugs. The high you get when you first smoke weed ain't gonna be the same high you get when you smoke the shit after 20 years of smoking the shit. But if you stop smoking for about a year or two and then smoke again, it won't be that same high because ain't nothing like the first time, but it'll be the closer you get to it if you go a while without it or whatever. I mean, the first time I smoked weed when I came home from jail was pretty much almost like the first. Damn, that was like the first time when I got high. Not as effective, but I remember that paranoia setting in that you get when you first smoke weed or whatever. But now, okay, so when you see them kids jumping around, going crazy and shit, that's what that is. That's the fucking high. Now, why I dig these blues? Yeah, everything is everything. That's why memory is. I remember I was reading a book one day when I first got out of jail. I was reading, I think, Ancient Egypt the World. It was one part where he was speaking about the importance of memory. And I'm gonna come back on some other shit about that memory shit too. Deity, but it's nah, fuck that. I'm putting it in the book. But that book gonna be a bad motherfucker. That strong shit that I be coming across now that I was usually do in front of him. Nah, I'm putting that shit in that book. So when I get the book, I ain't started the motherfucker yet. But once I get the rolling on this shit, you gonna know. And when I don't know, I gotta figure this shit out. But trust me, a lot of shit I'm finna, fuck that shit. Anyway, but I remember as a kid, about 8 or 9, maybe 7 or 8. I remember I was eating a bowl of Fruit Loops, and this is around the time I first learned about cocaine or whatever. Hell, whether it was school or however the fuck it first came to me or whatever. But the white powdery form of it or whatever. So I mean, one day as a kid, I think I was about 6 or 7, I was eating a bowl of Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops got that white coat on it, right? It looks like cocaine. And I remember asking myself, I was eating stuff like, what if this is cocaine? I was thinking this shit in my mind, I'm like, is this cocaine? Because you kid naive and shit. So you see learn about it. I think it was some drug-free shit in school or something they showed it. Well, I forgot how, but however. But when I ate the fucking fruit bowl, I was eating the bowl of Fruit Loops one day, and I just looked at this and I was like, is this cocaine? Because what it is it has like what made me say that, it's sweet. Fruit Loops are sweet. But if you pay close attention, it's like a tad bit of a bitterness to it. Not bitter. I can't explain it, but I can taste like a slight. I'll give you an example. If you ever eat Sweetened or Splenda or something like that, which that shit ain't really good for you either. That's not a good alternative. I tried that shit about a couple weeks ago. My fucking legs started hurting. I was cool. Like I said, just like I ate one day. I said, okay, this shit alright. It ain't fucking with my teeth. Ate that shit about 3 days, 4 days. But I went about like a week eating and putting in the coffee. My damn arm started feeling weird and shit. I'm good. Fuck that shit. But if you taste a little bit of that, when you eat Fruit Loops and shit, you would taste a little something about it. So I was like, this is cocaine. As a youngster, this just came naturally. I'm like, man, this is cocaine or something on this shit. Now it's not cocaine, but I get it now. When I flash back to the day, I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, I get it now. It's and times back to the story with Bobby. Sugar used to get you high. And I think he said it. We used to get high. We used to be able to get high on sugar the same way cocaine would get you high. So when I'm thinking back to this shit and I'm looking at the sugar that's on the fucking Fruit Loops, and I'm telling myself, is this cocaine? And then what it is though is the connection between the two is, or the commonality of the two is addictiveness, right? Sugar's addictive just like cocaine is addictive, whatever. Which is why the shit is in everything. To keep you coming back. Sugar, that is. So, the point I'm trying to make is that this shit is, with the sugar, it's the addictiveness of the sugar is what keeps you coming back. The poison or the shit that they use to process the shit is what fucks you up. So they got you addicted to the same shit that fucks you up through a combination of the two. And this shit is in everything. That's why I say, man, the best thing to do these days, at least what I'm gonna do personally, is I just go back to making shit from scratch. Like I said, this shit is in everything. You can't, if it ain't, it's hard to shop now, because if it ain't the fucking dairy in the shit, it's the fucking sugar in the shit. And, all that shit is fucked up. But yeah, man, so, I just want to, reiterate that, man, because, but you take it back to the ADHD thing and the sugar and shit, when you look at, or take it back to the pork thing, is to double down on that, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm the type of nigga, there ain't nobody perfect, but I'm a good nigga, bro. I don't fuck with nobody say. But I don't ain't nobody perfect. But the reason I say that is because when I look at some of this shit, when I look at the mentality of fucked up people, it's to the point to where I can't even fathom what would make you that fucking fucked evil or sick in the mind. See, like you look at a rapist, you have to think about it. See, if you don't live with, and I ain't talking about just in past and shit like because everybody, that's common, you know. Oh man, hold on, let me check this food real quick. All right, where was I? I kind of lost my place, but anyway, this shit is in everything, man. You gotta damn near make cornbread. You ain't even. I try to find some cornbread, sugar-free cornbread mix. Can't find shit. Egg mixed with shit. You know that shit got shit in it. It's just everywhere. Even the shit that's not even meant, that you don't even go to eat to look for a sweet taste. So you be like, what the fuck is sugar in this shit for? That's the addictiveness quality of it. Oh yeah, that's what I want to say too. The goddamn when the sugar, effect on the psychology of people. When you go to the pork, the mixture is worm infested. That shit get out in your brain and shit. So they tell you weed kills brain cells. That's bullshit. Weed actually stimulates the mind. It's a stimulant. So it stimulates the mind and makes you think. Might make you look lazy and shit, but it ain't killing no fucking brain cells. I'm guaranteed fucking worms crawling up in your brain and shit. Fucking some shit up, eating holes in your brain and shit. So they got shit all twisted up. But, so you see people say, and it be old people, oh, we don't do that to me. Oh, that's even more dangerous because if, for one, I'm quite sure you felt the fucking psychological effects. I mean, the physical effects that it has on you. They probably just don't remember. They so fucking old. I'm quite sure you felt the shit growing up or whatever. Kept eating this shit, and now you're so immune to it that you may not have. You may not mucus. You might not build up mucus from dairy products like somebody who doesn't drink the shit all the time, or somebody like me probably once did, because everybody them that caught the flu had the flu before and all that shit. That ain't nothing but mucus build up. But you probably kept eating this shit all the way up to your fucking 60s and 70s and 50s, 60s and shit, to the point to where now you so immune to it. Shit, you probably don't got no fucking mucus left or some shit. Who the fuck knows? Or you don't do that to me. Yeah, that ain't a good thing. You ate the shit, you too immune to it. So that shit probably, even though just like with pork, it might not have the physical effects that it used to have on you, but that shit might now, it might transfer it over. So that means if it ain't having the physical effect, then it might be taking a fucking the sugar can have cause ADHD and have you cause behavior problems. That fucking pig, the more you eat it, the less of an effect it may have on your physical, but your mind. But it may be causing an impediment in your mind. So when you look at people who find it hard to learn, have learning impediments, or hard to grasp this type of information, or whatever, or who are mentally lazy, mentally dumb, deaf, and blind, don't want to, even so. Okay, let me keep going. I'm almost done. But so you look at the pig. Selfishness is the root of all evil. Pigs are greedy. Greedy and selfishness go hand in hand. So you wonder why you have things like bullying, or people who they can't be a popular person. They have to be the most popular, and if they're not the most popular, whoever else is in the rankings with them, they have to try to salt their game so they can dim they light to keep this air of popularity, greed, or whatever. Or they can't have some money. They gotta have all the money, or be seen as the richest. So they gotta down you and or whatever. go back to what I was saying about being a good nigga. Some people, bro, I look at them. We to the average person, even good people, we don't. The average person, you might be. That's what I think I left off at. You might be a good person, right? And a good person sees somebody like a rapist or somebody that do some fucked up shit or bad fucked up people you just know is fucked up. You look at them and you would be like, that's a fucked up nigga, that's fucked up, or that's wrong what he did or she did, or blah 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 blah. And then it's in passing, you know, and it's just a fleeing moment or whatever, just a fleeing, you know, whatever. And you might think you're a good person. You may very well be, but you ain't as good as you could be if you don't sit down and start actually thinking like, well, where is this shit coming from? I personally can't fathom possessing the type of mentality that'll drive me to be like certain people or treat people the way certain people treat other people. So if you might be good, but you could be better. That's the problem with society. We're not solution based. In order to be solution based, you have to think like that. You can't just say, well, I'm a good person, they fucked up, and think that you bashing them for being fucked up people is doing it. It's not gonna work. You have to figure out, so what's making this motherfucker tick? Because if we can figure out that, we can stop the next generation. A lot of shit that we complaining about in this generation, we can stop it from filtering over into the fucking next generation. But it ain't gonna never happen if somebody sit down and think about this shit. That's why I always say we have a problem with citing the problem, criticizing the problem, and then we just leave it at that. I'm gonna take it a step further and say, well, where the fuck is this shit coming from? That's why we don't get into we don't do this shit from a scientific perspective. So that's why I sit down and think to a level where I'm like, well, maybe it's the pork, because the pork is the pig, and the pig is greedy, and greed and selfishness is what usually drives people to do fucked up shit to other people for whatever reason. Well, maybe it's that if you putting this in you, and we don't think to that fucking level. Not to brag on myself, but I've never seen nobody make that connection outside of me. But closest you come to that is, you know, the Nation of Islam, and I guess you could say Muslims in general, tend to stay away from the pig and shit with the pork. Another I don't know, we're going, yeah. Now, when you go to New York and they got them bodegas and shit, right? And everybody be getting chopped cheese, you know, give me the chopped cheese, I want the chopped cheese, oh shit. You know, I was watching a video one day, I know Ak is short for Aki, if I'm not mistaken. And that is, that's Muslim lingo or whatnot. Now, there's either one or two things. If the store is owned by somebody else and Ak is working in the store, okay, that's one thing. You working there, you have to, you know, serve whatever the people come to get or whatever. That's one thing. But if the fucking bodega is owned by Muslims and Ak ain't as a Muslim, then my question becomes, what the fuck is Ak doing selling bacon sandwiches? I seen it go, hey, Ak, give me a chopped cheese with bacon, and he gave her a chopped cheese with bacon. I was like, yeah, Ak, damn, Ak. What the fuck is going on here? I got the train here. So, you know, in the words of the late great John Henry Clark, there you have it. You have no friends. if Ock was your motherfucking friend, Ock would not be in there giving you no goddamn. But now if he just a worker, he just gotta do what he gotta do, I guess, or whatever. It ain't no different than a Muslim working in a regular restaurant or whatever. You know, you come there and get what you want, man. You making a choice. But if Ock is running, if this is Ock establishment, or if this is a Muslim establishment, the question becomes, why in the fuck is you after you? Because I don't even think they Muslims that as far as they, I don't even think they supposed to. That I wouldn't think if I had like own my own restaurant, I wouldn't serve pork. Like you work for somewhere, you can't do nothing about that, you know. But I think that's foul. You a Muslim, you own a bodega, and you're serving people pork. I mean, people don't give a fuck about you. They know this shit is disgusting. But they can make a buck off you by selling it. Hey, have at it. I mean, not have at it, but that's how their mentality is. So, I heard some shit. I seen Ock. It didn't make sense. I seen Ock. It was Ock, chopped cheese and bacon. I don't know. That ain't make sense. Something adding up here. I was just, wondering what the fuck is going on. Maybe he wasn't, or maybe they just, I don't know. But if that's what's going on, this shit done got way out of here. This shit went way too far. But, yeah, man, I just felt the need to say that shit because, I just looked at the chronology of events here. I ate the sugar shit, teeth fucked up, got rid of the toothache, got another one, started a video, some told me to call on Krishna, and my fucking, while I was in the middle of a whole nother toothache, then come to the thing where, or come to the understanding, or not come to the understanding, but was reminded that this nigga is fond of sweets and butter. And then I said, oh, all this shit in the midst of this fucking toothache, which came from my fondness of sweets and shit. Oh, this is the whole thing here. So, they tried to put the patak thing, the Peter Zophar. Yeah, that thing. I looked down, because I've said this shit before. I'm like, man, these motherfuckers think, not just the shit that happened in my jaw, that ain't the first time it happened. Well, I'll give you another example. But I was saying this the other day. I was like, man, motherfuckers be thinking a nigga some kind of, they getting this childhood tapping into your inner child thing mixed up with the fact that I don't know, the energy I'm exuding is making them forget, hey motherfucker, I'm a grown man around this motherfucker. And then so you know it, I read some shit the other day, right after that, I bumped to some scholarship where they just said Petard is usually mistaken for a child based off his little stature. I said, that was nothing but the spirit. I said, you see when I knew I was not fucking losing my goddamn mind. I knew I was on some shit right there. Just like I was telling you the other day, I'm not no fucking crazy man. Don't get it fucked up. And I'll give you an example of what I mean an example of why I say shit like that. I remember, it ain't even got nothing to do with me. But I said that shit, I think, because I made the crazy man face when I was talking. But it's deeper than that. It's the energy, bro. Shit that people don't recognize or can't understand, they tend to label it crazy. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Because it's deeper than just shit you do. But a nigga told me out his own mouth. Back in the game, I was working at this one place. And this new dude came. So we ended up getting cool and shit or whatever. And we started kicking it. I started dropping it. You know, I started trading out, dropping knowledge on him and shit. Woo. And he said, he don't get me wrong though, he wasn't rejecting this shit. He was into it. Don't get me wrong. But he said something that made me become aware of what's going on with a nigga like me, based off my energy, which makes it be hard for me to go out. It should be bullshit. I'm always having some bullshit ass times with people on jobs and all this old shit. But it really dawned on me through what this nigga said. You know, this is about 2 or 3 months after us getting cool and shit. And nigga said, man, you know what? He said, see, when I first saw you, bro, I knew. I said to myself, that's one of them crazy niggas. I didn't know this nigga from a bump on the wall, bro. He said, I knew you was one of them crazy niggas. Some shit, but he was linking it to the consciousness. How people look at us like, oh, they go over that crazy shit. But this was post him coming into it. So he was, by him now, or at that time, understanding, I guess you say alternative consciousness and shit like that. He was saying, I knew it was some people. I knew he was one of them crazy niggas. I'm like, hold up. Now my mind, I'm like, nigga, I'm not crazy. The fuck? How you just see me? I ain't said nothing to you, did nothing. But they tell you how people prejudge you too. I ain't did nothing. I'm back there cleaning crawfish. I remember that. I remember when the first time I seen that nigga shit, right, or whatever. He said, I seen you back there. I knew you was one of them crazy niggas that would probably be into some shit like this. Or something like that. What he really was saying was, nigga, yo, he didn't know. See, that's what I'm saying. That if you're not conscious or you're not on a certain level, you won't understand. See, a conscious person, say that nigga was a conscious nigga or a conscious chick, and see, she probably said, you know, I had a feeling you was conscious because your aura was just shining so bright. She would have said some shit like that. He didn't know, he just don't know nothing about aura and all this shit, or energy or whatever. So all he could say was, it was something, and he didn't know how to say. So the closest thing he'd come to, instead of saying just something different about you, was, he said, I knew it was something crazy about you. Because, you know, we identify anything that's different, we always identify as crazy. Like I said, if a nigga, if you regular just, you know, Baptist, Christian, or whatever, and you get some new neighbors, and then your new neighbors are Native Americans and shit, then they get into their yard and they start doing their Native American chants and dances and they practicing their shit. You gonna be like, oh, I'm crazy. Oh, my new neighbors over there on that crazy shit. But in all actuality, it's just a different form of spirituality. And it's not necessarily crazy. To you, it's crazy. Why? Because it's different. So different equals crazy to a lot of motherfuckers here in the wilderness of North America. So when that nigga said, I knew you was one of them crazy niggas. I was like, nigga, I'm not crazy. You prejudging me first and foremost. He just didn't, you know how to say the shit. But I'm gonna end this one on that note so I can make sure this shit get posted.